Welcome everybody. Is the camera rolling? Or we haven't started then yet?
It's going.
Okay, good. So welcome everybody.
Welcome.
I hope you are as ready as I am. That's good. Welcome. Our group is complete now. So I hope you're ready as I am, because I've been looking forward to this training for weeks and months already, since I know it. And I love to be in Denver. Yeah, you can find yourself on a chair. Yeah. I'm already walking around in Denver 2 days. I've never been here. I'm from the Netherlands. My name is Martin Green Valley, if you didn't know that yet.
How do you spell?
Green. Hey, Larissa. Green. It's not an exam question, by the way, but it's Green, Green Valley, like a real green valley.
A-L-L-E.
Yeah.
Is that what your name means in Dutch?
Yes, it's literally translated. Groenendaal, yeah. So it's fine if you say Green Valley, but it's fine if you say Groenendaal as well. But maybe the most easy is if you say Martin. So I've been walking already around for 2 days in Denver, and it's very sunny, it's very hot. So who is actually from around here in this neighborhood? Oh, okay, great. Who is actually from Denver? Okay, very close by, great. So I love to be in the United States of mind, and I always have a great time in the United States of mind. I think the people are very communicative and social, and I always have a great time. So I'm happy to be here and to get started. So you're going to get a lot out of this training in terms of your personal development, but also in terms of your professional development as a coach, hypnotherapist, or a conversational hypnotherapist, or maybe you are a shaman. No matter what you're doing, if you're a people helper, a light worker, we've got so many terms lately that are going around, you will get a lot out of this training. You will get very clear around what you want to do further on from now on in your future. Because many people, they struggle with, I don't really exactly know what I want to do with hypnosis, what I want to do with hypnotherapy, how do I want to evolve my coaching business. So you will get a lot of clarity out of this training. You will also find that you will break through a lot of personal limitations. I already spoke to some people who have got some personal limitations here and there. And sometimes the limitations are unconscious, which is great news, because we're going to work a lot with the unconscious mind in this hypnosis laboratorium. So you don't have to know consciously what your limitation was in order to change it, because you are going to do many exercises which has to do with making changes unconsciously and consciously. So also for that you will get a lot out of the training to break through those personal limitations, break personal beliefs, get new beliefs about yourself, your capabilities, and how much more effective you will be in your hypnotherapy practice. Also, you will get a lot out of this training for applying specific techniques, right? Who already is a hypnotherapist or a coach or is helping people professionally? Okay. Who is thinking about making that step? Great. And who is here actually for a sales reason or a teacher reason or a communication reason? Yeah. Who is outside of the United States? I mean, not now, but you live outside of the United States. Yeah. You're from Canada, right? Yeah. And who else?
Also from Canada. We're both from Vancouver.
Both from Vancouver. Did you know that already, or you met each other here? Okay, good. Yeah. So you got new friends. Yeah. Is it cold in Canada now, or?
No, Vancouver is a temperate rainforest. It's not very cold ever.
I got immediately that image of a snow mountains. You know, my temperature kinesthetically is changing when I hear the word Canada. It's like a trigger for my unconscious mind.
Snowshoes. I hear you use clogs in Holland. We have snowshoes.
We have snowshoes. We got a lot of stuff for working through the winter time. So good. I remember when I did this training with Igor Ledekovsky in 2009, and at that time I was a tour leader in Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, with groups from the Netherlands. I took them 22 days through the 4 countries as a journey, as a trip. And for whatever reason, I always have great groups. And so we were in the bus 22 days, right? Out of free will, we were going to the Maya temples, we were going to the jungles, we were on fishing boats, we were going through the parks, beautiful nature in Mexico. So I wanted to change my life at that time because I wanted to be a hypnotherapist and trainer, but then full time. And at that time, as I said, I was working in Mexico, and I was 6 months in Mexico, going 1 month to the Netherlands, 6 months Mexico, 1 month Netherlands. I was traveling a lot. I still have that paradigm, thanks God. Some things are worthwhile not to change. So I love traveling. So the point is that I wanted to make that change. I wanted to be a full-time hypnotherapist, full-time trainer. I have my own training institute in the Netherlands. I teach hypnotherapy and NLP trainings and stuff like that. So I decided to go online to find a training for hypnosis. And so at that time already I helped people getting rid of phobias, especially fear of flying. I helped thousands of people getting rid of fear of flying because I thought it's a good combination, traveling and getting rid of phobias. And so I never asked airlines for any economic help, but I sponsored thousands of people. They went into the airplane again because they are not afraid anymore. So I went online and I was looking for hypnosis training, and then I found the sales page of Igor Ledakovsky and the hypnotherapy program, this program. I was totally excited when I went through it. I thought that's exactly what I want. I want to make personal changes, and I want to become more skillful in my job. Because I love helping people, and at that time I wanted to help people with fear of flying mainly. I got great results already, but I wanted to become better because, as you may know, some clients, I didn't get the results that I wanted. So I thought I'm going inside the field of hypnotherapy to get the skills also from hypnosis, aside from NLP. So I did this training in 2009. So I came from the jungle of Mexico in Las Vegas, because there was the training. It was outside of Las Vegas. Maybe you know the area. It's Lake Las Vegas. It's about 30 minutes outside of the crazy casino dimension. And so I rented a car out of Mexico. And I remember I arrived on the McCarran airport in Las Vegas. And he told me the bad news. He said, the car you rented online, we don't have it anymore. We only have this car. And it was an amazing sport car, like a Corvette kind of car. And it had the automatic system, right? I was used to schakelen, we say in the Netherlands. So I was very lucky. But he said, I have got bad news. So he reframed my mind. So I went inside the sports car to the training of Igor Ledakovsky at Lake Las Vegas. And I told myself before I went into that training, I want to make the biggest transformation that's possible for me in my life. I was very excited about that feeling because I remember that feeling very well. And I didn't specifically know what kind of transformation it would be. So I wasn't really specific in my goal, as some people are, which is great, but I only had a great feeling inside about a personal transformation that I wanted to make. And I told myself many times, sort of like a prayer, you could say, I want to make the biggest transformation that's possible for me. I was like so ready for it and open for it. It had to do with the transition between going from Mexico jungle, being a tour leader, to the Netherlands and having my own institute, becoming more professional. It had to do with that, but it was not really specific. I remember I was going into a trance very soon. And somewhere around day number 4, something shifted inside of me. Because every night, every evening after the training, I drove back to the center of Las Vegas with the car I told you. And so it is beautiful to drive through the desert. And especially the beginning of the road is completely white. It's almost like a moon landscape. And then you go to the strip of Las Vegas. I remember after day 4 that I felt an emotional shift inside my mind and body, but I couldn't really put my finger on it. I remember I was driving in the car and I was looking into the mirror to look backwards, and I smiled to myself because I felt so good after doing 4 days already of the hypnosis training. This one, I was so happy, and I didn't know why. And I knew, I felt it inside of my body, every fiber of my soul, you could say, that I made that change. And I didn't even know what the change was, but I was already happy for it. To the extent that I started to have tears of joy. In the mirror, I remember that, and it was dark outside in the desert. So I'm in my sports car, totally alone, driving back, feeling wonderful, and the music was on of Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight, which is a very intense number. It added to the experience. And so I felt like something left my body, and I felt I made a breakthrough. So the song was on of In the Air Tonight of Phil Collins. I could see the strip of Las Vegas far away, all the lights. And so I decided to take a snapshot of that memory, of that moment. So I stopped the car at the side of the road. I opened the doors, and loud I play Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight. And I was like crying, and I was like so happy, and I couldn't wait for the other day. So that is about a personal breakthrough. Maybe you want to make personal changes as well. So I know you want to make personal changes and professional changes, and what kind of changes whatsoever. And I want you to put them aside, because there is something better that is possible for you beyond the changes you want for yourself. So imagine that you get more than the change you really hope for, the change you would really love to make for yourself on whatever area in your life. You can have always more, right? Evolution continues. So in that sense, I want to invite you to step aside from that goal in full faith and trust that you stay open for something even better to come closer and closer to you. So I remember in the training that I understood NLP. Can you imagine that? I was already 15 years an NLP trainer. And in this training that I did in Las Vegas, I thought, now I understand. I understand now what a submodality is. I understand now a little bit better what is anchoring, what is a state, what is hypnosis. And so I couldn't wait to go back home to help people with the phobias. And at that time, I help people inside of their house. So I put on my website, I can also visit your house if you have a phobia, and I treat you in your house. So I hypnotized people, young and old, in every city in the Netherlands, and now mainly in many different countries. And they asked me, is it okay if grandma and grandpa are also with the hypnotic session? So imagine you're going inside somebody's house you don't know, and that client is saying, well, I invited my family because we are really looking forward to do some hypnosis. Is that okay with you? And then I look to the side on the blue couch. I can still see them sitting. Grandma and grandpa, very happy, smiling. You know, they were like, I couldn't resist. I couldn't say no to them. How can I reject grandma and grandpa, you know? So I said yes. And it only helped me to go deeper. Because the deeper I went before I saw a client, the less I was busy with unnecessary things, like what other people are thinking of you, what kind of color couch there is in the house, although I still know it's blue. I might have picked it up unconsciously. So the deeper the trance is, the more focused you become. And that is an easy job. Maybe you remember when you were young, you could play for hours with toys, with friends. And the wild, exciting outside world is still as wild as exciting as you experienced way back then when you felt amazing. So the eyes where you are looking through can change to the extent you can do anything you want when you start to choose your emotions and feelings. So a great feeling to have is not knowing. When you were a child, you didn't even know how to walk, right? That's weird. You didn't even know how to talk, and you didn't give anything about that. You weren't worried. Like, hey, I see all the adults walk. Maybe it's time for me to walk as well. You had big pupils, and you were crawling across the floor, looking to the big legs, and wondering about how do they do that. But you had already joy inside, like now. Which means you can take that joy as your starting point in the exercises you're going to do. Because one of the things you're going to get out of this training is a lot of practice. And it doesn't matter how good you already are or how much practice you already have done. This is such a practical training, much more than any other hypnosis training I have done on the world. And I've been to different kind of hypnosis trainings in Las Vegas, United States, Belgium, Asia, in London. This is far out the most practical training there is. Igor Ledekovsky structured this training not only to make those changes, but also to have a lot of practice. And when you begin to feel that joy, just like you did a long time ago when you played for hours, not even knowing what you were doing, not even knowing what the outcome needed to be, you can start doing that right now. So, I have a couple of tips before we get started, how you will get the most out of the training. Do you think that's useful, to give you some tips? Who thinks that's useful? Good. Don't think. That is one of the best tips. But how do you know when you're not thinking? Right? Think about it. And don't analyze it. Yet. So maybe you have experienced days where you woke up and your whole body, for whatever reason, felt good. Your mind was clear. You opened the windows, the curtains. You saw a blue sky. And for whatever reason, you felt sharp and good. And you went to the shower and you noticed that you were starting to play a tune. Maybe you were playing your favorite tune. And everything went smoothly and automatic and all by itself. Those days you have inside your unconscious mind. It's not necessary now to open that door again to all those positive memories and great feelings. Because that's one of the best feelings you will have when you start doing the exercises. What I mean is being playful and don't think too much about what you are learning. So that's the first tip. Don't think too much, don't analyze too much, because this training is structured, and I've done it, I think, like 18 or 19 times, this hero's journey you're about to make. And every time I discover that the structure of the training is there for you, so you don't have to worry about what you're learning, because at day 5 or 6, we will bring it all together for you anyway, in a way that's completely understandable, consciously, and sharp, so you can apply all the techniques, and you get everything out of it where you came for. But until, it is an invitation and a good tip to immerse yourself in the exercises and don't think about what you are doing. How can you do that? Well, to have fun in the moment and to forget about the difference between you and the moment. You only have to focus on what's the next step. So all the exercises you're going to do are fun, but we build it up in little steps. So for example, we have a big technique called regression. I'm looking forward now, talking about the regression. And that technique, the regression, is built up in a lot of steps, right? Those steps, you're going to practice step by step. So when you do the exercise, don't look back about the exercise you've just done, and don't necessarily look too much forward about what we're going to do. Which means there is no need to think, there is no need to be anybody. There is no need to do anything. There is no need to think anything. Only here, only now, enjoying being in the present moment. So while you're sitting on a chair and hear my voice, you can become aware of somewhere in your body where you feel best now. Some people feel best in their left hand. Other people feel good in their arms. Some people have a warm feeling in their stomach. Other people feel light in their mind. Some people feel good all over their body. I'm not sure where you feel best. Because when you begin to focus on those good feelings, it's going to be so much more easy. So that is an invitation to find yourself in between the moments now for the rest of the time we're going to spend together, having fun and learning. So another thing is, it could be that some emotional issue pops up, or maybe you find yourself a little bit derailed from the reason why you chose to be here. That's getting the most out of the training for you. And when you find yourself in an unpleasant state or a little bit derailed for whatever reason, and however that might look like, ask yourself, what do I need to do now to come back in the best learning mode or in the best learning state, right? So when you find yourself a little bit derailed, ask yourself, what do I need to do now? What do I need to do now to come back in that good learning state, right? You can also ask somebody else, hey, what do you need to do now to come back in the best learning state? That's a great question, right? So you will stay on track. Another thing is, I have a promise for you. That promise is that after a couple of days, maybe sooner, you will have no clue what's going on with you. And you will have no clue about what you are doing. You will have no clue about maybe who you are or who you were being. And what to do in the exercise. We call it confusion. And maybe you can remember being so confused about learning how to ride a bicycle, or forget somebody's name, or remember somebody's name, or prepare yourself for a great conversation. Maybe you weren't aware that confusion is one of the best ways for you to learn new things. So expect to be confused. Is it okay to make a deal with you to be okay enough with that confusion of not understanding where we are going, of not understanding maybe what you're learning, with the promise that on day 5, 6 we bring it all together for you? Is that a deal we can make? Good. Most people said yes. Other people say, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Other people say, hey, you got a trancy accent. Where are you really from? The Trans Laboratorium. We are all in now. As Jim Moran says, is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin. So, yes, that confusion is a natural part of learning, right? If you could follow me for 6 days completely and totally clear, that's a sign for me that I can do something for your learning process to be even more optimum. So this is a completely different way from learning at school. At school, you have to learn one answer, and if you know that answer, you're a good girl or a good boy. And that's why you want to always stay alert and focused. If you have a learning style, for example, writing things down, do that. If you have a learning style of spacing in and going into a trance even deeper, go ahead. If you want to lay down on the floor, if that's your best learning style, you can do that too. Just respect the other people's learning style through all the days. If you want to take a glass of water, there's no need to ask. You can just go ahead and do that. It's adult learning. You're in an adult learning environment. So take good care of yourself about how you learn, what's the best way for you to learn. If you want to go to the toilet, go ahead. You don't have to ask. Just when you come back, be respectful for the experiences when people are practicing or when we are in a teaching. Good. So, another tip is when you have hypnosis experience already, and who is that? Quite a lot, I think. Or maybe you've read books about hypnosis. Is to put that aside as well. I've been in many trainings when they told me the same thing. I was like, yeah, right. I'm not going to put that aside. But you will realize that somewhere in the training, new things will enter into your mind and into your body that will help you change positively. And also, you will learn more when you are okay with not knowing what you are learning. That's why you learned so much more when you were young, being joyful in not knowing. So I have people in my trainings that say, hey, that looks like a visual squash, which is a technique from NLP. Or, hey, that's just like X, Y, or Z. That's the brain generalizing and basically saying, oh, I don't need to learn what you're saying now because it's just like that. Or it's just like the other training I did. They already taught me that technique or that technique. And I know some of you are doing this training for the second or third time. Some of you are on the Hypnotherapy University. Who is on the Hypnotherapy University? Yeah, so we have 50-50. Who has never done a hypnosis training? Great, fresh meat. You're in for a surprise. A pleasant surprise. Great. And the great thing is, in some ways, you're better off than knowing more about hypnosis than you thought. Because that's right, when your mind is empty, right, new things can come in. But the unconscious mind likes generalizing. It likes generalizing. So, that's just like this technique, or just like that technique. When you find yourself do that, ask yourself, what's different? If you notice differences, you're learning more than similarities, generally speaking. Also, work with people that you don't know. And if you find yourself working with somebody that you feel comfortable with, you're learning less when you step again into somebody not knowing. Hey, what's your name? Hey, you want to do the exercise? Or stepping out to somebody you haven't worked with for a while is a great learning experience. Good, so those are some tips for you that you can unconsciously and consciously digest to the extent you will take everything out of this training where you came for and more. Good, so is everybody ready to learn and have fun in the same time? Great. Shall I do that again? Is everybody ready? Yeah. Very good. Double that feeling. And double it again. Okay, is everybody ready to learn language patterns today. We're going to do some fun stuff with language. And we're going to do some fun stuff with your mood, your emotional mood. You know, imagine you can enhance your emotional mood to the extent you feel overwhelmed by joy and ecstasy, the natural one. I might, from time to time, refer to the internal pharmacy industry inside your brain. Because inside your brain you have a machine that makes serotonins, which is a neurotransmitter. And inside your brain you have a chemical laboratorium that makes serotonins. And also your brain is very good at making dopamines and endorphins. So you can endorphin yourself with all those good feelings and neurotransmitters. Now would be good. So you can open the door of ecstasy, which is another word for the serotonins. You know, when you meet a client who is depressed, they are craving for serotonins. They say, hey man, you got some good stuff. It's just like parties where I was in Amsterdam years ago, when I was dancing on the dance floor and somebody knocked on my shoulder when I was in a deep trance, listening to the music. They say, hey, you got some good stuff. You seem to really enjoy this party. I'm like, yeah man, I'm overflowing with serotonins. How do you do that? I said, close your eyes and go into a trance. And focus on the music. And become aware of what you're not aware of yet. And I could see this. I say, that's right. And so I said, focus on the best feeling you have in your body. Maybe it's your left arm feeling good. Maybe it's a warm feeling in the stomach beginning to spread. And after a while, they really enjoyed. And they liked the stuff I was selling in Amsterdam. I did a lot of parties in Amsterdam. So from time to time, you might find me in that party together with you. Is that okay? I have great stories about the dance floors in Amsterdam. And some peyote too. Some people have a recognizable laugh. Is that the word in English? Right? They say, yeah, yeah. Or maybe ayahuasca trance here and there. Good. So you're all ready to learn. I think it's a great time for meeting each other. So in just a moment, you're going to stand up from your chair, not now, and you put the chairs aside, and you're going to walk around, and you're going to introduce yourself to the people in the room in a way that feels most best to you. So you could say your name, right? You could also say where you're from. You could say anything you want, right? Just be respectful to the other person. And have a conversation for a couple of seconds, minutes, and when you're done, go to somebody else. Meet as many people that's possible for you, right? So you have a kind of a intuition about with who you are being. But don't worry, anybody will change soon, right? So maybe it's time to do this exercise every hour, you know. You remember who you are? Who weren't you? Who are you not? Right? So have fun introducing each other to each other, right? So stand up, put the chairs aside. Take a couple of minutes to do that. Hey, hello.
Yeah, there's already couples.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. Maybe you have some groups of 3.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. They just seem in conversation.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, good to see you.
Welcome
too,
to
man.
Denver.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm very happy to be in Denver.
Andy?
Yeah.
Hi, Melissa.
Melissa, nice to meet you. Donovan, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Hey,
You're local?
nice to meet you.
No, I'm from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
You?
I'm from the South. Zoom.
I have my counseling degree, which I kind of walked away from it for a while, but this really got me back in, like, hypnosis, language. I do, yep. Yeah, I know. I saw this training and yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Forget how motivated I was before the steps I've lived. So